I caught up with Dale Farms again, harvesting corn. This is on a farm they call the Jap Ranch. A Japanese corporation owned it years ago. Had their semis sitting there by the gravel road, down them paths on that ridge, down past those three ponds off in the distance. The combines are running, so the buggies have to haul back to the trucks. And here they're using their center pivot tractors to pull these grain buggies. I didn't ask. I assume it's because of the distance they are having to pull the buggy. And in hill ground, those tractors handle the weight of that buggy a little better than front wheel assist tractors. And they'll come to the semi with a minimum of a full load, and then sometimes they'll come with a huge load. These buggies are so much bigger than they appear to be. You can't even see the grain in that buggy. I came here to try to get some video of them harvesting at night, and it's just a few minutes before sundown now. They've got about 2 miles of gravel road they have to run once they get loaded before they get to a paved road, and then probably 8 or 9 miles of paved road to get to their bin site. It's pretty easy for the trucks to keep up when they're here in this kind of terrain because the fields are smaller and there's a lot of point rows and turn rows and a lot of ridges, and so the combines don't get quite the production they would get if they was in a big flat field. So the trucks can keep up pretty easy. So there's 4 trucks sitting here now waiting to load. The buggy drivers, they try to load the semi as evenly as they can, and they try to load both ends so that they'll ride a little better rather than just throwing it all in the center of the hopper. So I would guess, just looking at the trailer, he's probably got 800 bushel on. So that cart had 800 bushel in it, and you couldn't even see the grain in it. So it looks like he's got a pretty good load. The driver's going to tarp it and head out. The buggy guy's on a big race back to the combines. So I moved and came probably 3/4 of a mile, or possibly as far as a mile, before I found the combines. They've just started opening this area. And see, there's a buggy load that's way bigger than the one we just saw dump. He's probably got 1,100 bushel on or something around that. buggy guy's got to hustle. Here we've got a combine full. You can tell by these blinking hopper lights sitting here in the foreground. And again, the hopper lights will blink when the bin's about 3/4 full, and then they'll blink constantly when he's full. That lets the buggy driver know what's going on. Way back there in the background off to the left, that one's blinking periodically, so that tells you it's 70 or 80% full. This buggy's already got one dump on him. He's going to take a full dump here. Now this combine coming at us, his lights are starting to blink. He's getting full. So he's going to take advantage of the situation and just dump while that buggy's sitting there. It's dark enough now that if you were driving on a road with a vehicle on a public highway, you'd have your lights on. The camera kind of deceives that. I've got the lens as open as I can manually do it on the controller of the drone to try to get more light in. And way back there in the distance is the east end of this farm, so they've got quite a bit of corn back in there yet to harvest. Here another buggy's back from the semi, and he's going to hustle over there and get that one that was blinking there off to the left. So again, the buggy guys are just on the go all the time. Here this combine coming at us, he's got something hooked on his head. Some stalks are plugged up on his head or something. He's going to back up and try to shake it loose. Yeah, got to do it one more time. You rarely see that. And again, here you can see the efficiency of this machine, and look how much grain's pouring in that bin. It's moving a lot of material. And now you can see by the lights shining on the ground that it's pretty dark now. Off in the distance you can see a buggy coming back from the semis. So we got one combine way off in the distance to the right. His light's flashing already. So he's 70% full. This buggy in the foreground to the right, he's going to head back there and dump him. So two of the three buggies are back here in the field, and the third one is at the semis now unloading. We've got one combine off in the distance that's flashing. Now the one to the left coming at us, he's flashing. And these guys talk on their radios all the time. Got business band radios in each of the vehicles, so they're communicating. So this buggy, he's trying to figure out what he's supposed to do, and I'm sure he's already been told, just turn around, pull up there, and when I get up there to the gate, I'll dump on you. Because that one coming at him on the left side, he needs to dump. Now the one on the right's blinking. So 3 of the 4 combines that need dumped. And this is just an all-day event. These guys do 12-hour days when they're shelling corn. And all day long they do this. So I came here to get night video, and I'm about out of batteries, so I waited till it got dark to shoot my next one. I only had 1 battery left. And the lights on this equipment is incredible. They use those white lights on the machine are HID lights, and the yellowish looking light like on the back of his head, I assume that's an H4 bulb or something of that caliber. But that white light, like on the tractors and on the front of the combine, that's HID lights. And this just doesn't do this justice. They just light this whole field. And these combines work in close proximity to each other, and sometimes that might look confusing, like why would they do that? They just get in each other's way. Well, just think about how much grain we've watched be unloaded out of the combine just since we started this video. So it's just nonstop. You can't spread these combines out and scatter them out over a large distance because the buggy will never be able to keep up. He'd never know which one he's supposed to be going to, and he would invariably always be at the wrong one. So they just run together, and sometimes they get in each other's way like this. There's a little bit of confusion here, and we got to get turned around, but you can't spread out too far, or the buggies can't keep up with you. In this case, these buggies are already hauling this grain at least 3/4 of a mile. On this farm, I believe it's somewhere around 2,500 acres altogether. They sold off 1,800 acres of it to a group of people from Kansas City that wanted to own it for hunting rights. They had been renting it, leasing it off of Dales every year for hunting, and this past year they purchased 1,800 acres of it. So some of this farm ground is owned by those people now, and Dale Farms just rents, and then some of it Dale Farms still owns. What we're on right now, I have no idea. The deer hunting here is spectacular. There were 7 deer in the buggy path when I come driving back here. These deer are well fed, thanks to Dale Farms. So again, that buggy that just took that dump, he's going to hustle over there to that other combine and get a dump so he can get full and head for the semi. We've got an empty buggy sitting back here below me to the left. And again, you can kind of see the horizon. You can see a little light, but it's pitch black now. I'd been wanting to video them at night, but I was kind of waiting to catch them in a situation like this. If they're all strung out and spread out over a large distance, I'd have a real hard time keeping track of what was going on with my drone. But here they're just working right around me. I'm parked just back in under me. I'm not. I don't think I was ever an eighth of a mile from my drone during all of this video. Look how bright that light is. This particular evening, where they're at now, they're working about 2 miles east of my house. So they're hauling all the grain past my house. And I filmed this yesterday evening and into the night. And last night, the last truck that I heard go by was at 9:30. So they worked till at least 9:30 last night. And like I say, shelling corn, they can start relatively early in the morning. We've had pretty dry weather, so they're easily putting in 12-hour days. They're going by my house at the rate of about 15 minutes for a semi-load. So they're doing 4 semi-loads an hour in these point rows. So if they had 800 bushel on, there's, what's that, 8 times 4 would be 32,000 bushel an hour. No, check that. That's Missouri math. It'd be 3,200 bushel an hour. I think they are kind of toward the end of harvest. I know they've got their beans all done. I would say since it's been a while since I talked to them about corn, they're probably 70% done with corn now. And this is the 9th of November. They started on the 11th of September. So they haven't quite been 2 months. Probably harvested 15,000 acres. And you'll see odd rows once in a while, like now he's just cutting 10 rows instead of 12. And that just happens in this fields like this with this many point rows and odd size, planting with a 24 row planter. And now I stopped close video and I got myself up in the air. So now I'm 1,000 feet high. And this gives you an idea of truly how dark it was. I really enjoy watching them. I really enjoy videoing them. Dale Farms.